What's up, guys? It's Noah back with another video, and so last Monday I posted a video. I was reacting to the Athletic 75, and this Monday I am gonna be grading every quarterback in the 2021 draft class. There's five of them, I believe, or five or six of them. I'm gonna be grading, giving out a letter grade, going over their stats. And I think Wednesday and Friday I'll probably drop some NBA videos then, but. Let's start with Trevor Lawrence. So as you guys can see on the screen, I unfortunately cannot post the highlights. That's copyright issues with the NFL. So I'm just gonna kind of give you the gist. I'm gonna show you their stats. You can watch the highlights on your own, and I think you guys seen them enough. I don't really need to show the good and the bad throws. Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence was the first pick. He had 3,600 yards this year, 12 TDs, 17 interceptions. 59% completion. I know he was on a disaster of a team. He lost his running back, ETN, before the season. He lost DJ Chark in like week 1 or 2. He had LaVisca and Marvin Jones, a decent veteran. But he didn't really have a good coach. I mean, Urban Meyer, we saw him dancing with women at clubs after games, even though he was married. So it's not a good look. He ended up getting fired, and the Jags now hired Doug Peterson, which I think is going to be very beneficial to Trevor Lawrence. And so, I mean, he had a lot of good plays this year, a lot of bad plays. I mean, he led the NFL in interceptions. That's never good as a rookie. I believe Peyton Manning did that too as a rookie, and Peyton Manning ended up being probably a top three quarterback all time. So I wouldn't. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not going to hold the first season against him. I'm not going to hold the first season against any of these quarterbacks, to be honest, because sometimes it takes years. Athletes take a while to develop. Not every quarterback is that great in year one. But he did. His best game was a 23-20 win against the Dolphins, where he was 25 of 41 with 319 yards, one TD. That was their first win of the season, and he played two. He had two total 300-yard games, and just a lot of not great plays. I was very shocked he was this bad. I thought because he was coming out as a generational prospect out of Clemson. He was great all those years. He won the national championship as a freshman against Alabama, but 60 yards per attempt, that's pretty bad, and below 60% completion. He's got to get that up. But I think with Doug Peterson, who's going to be a real NFL coach, an adult coach, who's won a Super Bowl, he's done it before with Philly, and DJ Chark coming back, maybe they draft another receiver to help him out, give him some. They have the first pick again this year, so they can get a great O lineman. But yeah, I don't think Trevor Lawrence was particularly special this year. He had a lot of crappy games. Let's just go through some of the crappy games. 158 yards against the Niners, 30-10 loss. He threw 4 interceptions against the Titans and didn't even put up a single point. He threw 3 picks against the Patriots, lost 50-10. Yeah, he really wasn't. He wasn't anything. He did show some flashes of what he could be in the future, but Jacksonville's a disaster coach. I'm not going to hold the season that much against him. Maybe we'll grade a little harshly, but based on each situation, unacceptable, honestly, for the first pick and a generational prospect, no matter what situation you're put into. 17 interceptions leading the NFL, only 12 touchdowns and playing all 17 games. That's pretty bad. So I am going to give Trevor Lawrence a D+. That's pretty bad. Yeah, I know it's kind of harsh. I mean, most people probably give him a C or like C+. I'm giving him a D+. Not a great season. And now let's move on to the second overall pick, Zach Wilson out of the Jets, BYU product. He was great in the Senior Bowl. He got drafted second. He's known for having a great arm, pretty accurate. He's also an athletic quarterback. He's 6'2". He wasn't particularly good this year either, but he was stepping into another crappy situation. The Jets coming off of like a 2-win season, whatever, with Sam Darnold. They moved off him, which was smart. I was never a fan of Sam Darnold, but Zach Wilson, 55% completion, lower than Lawrence. He only played 13 games because he was hurt for a little bit, where Mike White took over. 6.1 yards per attempt, point that's barely better than Lawrence. 9 TDs, 11 interceptions. He was really, really bad early on in the season. He had no 300-yard game this year. For me, that's unacceptable. I don't care what your team you're on. If you're the second overall pick, just like I mentioned with Lawrence, how he went first, that's not acceptable. He had 297 yards and two TDs, one interception with the Titans. He wasn't. He was good in that game. That was their first win of the season, but he missed a lot of easy throws. He can make some good throws. I can't really show you them, but I'm sure you've seen them on YouTube and the NFL Insta. He's made some great throws against the Panthers week 1 and many other games, but he got stomped by the Patriots twice, as we all know. I know it's a bad situation. I like Elijah Moore. Corey Davis was on and off this season. I do think they have a real head coach in Robert Saleh, the Jets. Their O-line wasn't particularly that bad, but he gets too antsy in the pocket. I think that's and he doesn't complete the easy throws. Sometimes he takes deep shots when he really shouldn't. He should be checking it down more. They need to design more checkdowns and easy throws for Wilson. He'll definitely improve, but the bright side is he didn't throw an interception like the last 5 games or something. But I'm gonna give him this. But the letter grade I'm going to give him is a D+, the same as Trevor Lawrence. Both of them not looking good, not looking too hot for the top 2 picks. More interceptions and touchdowns, never good. All right, Trey Lance, the 3rd overall pick. Moving on to him. This is gonna be quick because he only started 2 games and he appeared in a few. His best game was 249 yards and 2 TDs, 1 pick against the Texans, 8.5 yards per attempt, 5 TDs, 2 interceptions. He gives me Kaepernick vibes, the way he can run. He throws the ball really hard spiral. But most of the time, he doesn't know what he's doing in the pocket. I think he plays with his head. He's like a chicken with his head cut off. I do think there's a lot of potential there, but the bad news is he's barely started in like the last 4 years. So looking at this, he didn't play his freshman season, North Dakota State. Then in 2019, he threw 28 TDs to 0 picks, which put him on the radar as a top tier prospect. And he didn't really play in 2020 due to the COVID season. And then he sat behind Jimmy G, and it's not that clear cut. Adam Schefter, I know he reported that Trey Lance is not completely ready yet, so they might have to start Garoppolo for a little bit. That is pretty bad. I could see it, though. I mean, they didn't really trust him. I thought Lance was going to start halfway through the season. Dead wrong. I mean, this 49ers team was competing for the playoff spot. They almost made the Super Bowl this year. And I don't think Lance can make... Jimmy G's not that great either, but Lance in a playoff game playing with his head cut off, I don't think that would be a recipe for success. So I can't really give him a letter grade. It's not fair for me to give him a grade because the other quarterbacks played almost 16 games. He's really started like 1 or 2. And yeah, he's just not really ready, so he didn't play that much. So he's an incomplete grade. So incomplete grade for Trey Lance. Chalk that up. And now we will talk about Justin Fields here, the Chicago Bears quarterback, and he's 6'3". He really didn't have played like a chicken with his head cut off too. I mean, all these rookies did in most of the season. That's what happens when they're rookies. But he was the 11th pick. The Bears trade up for him. They gave the Giants a first. That's going to be in this year's draft. But I think Fields showed a little more promise than Lawrence and Wilson, and he was 2-8 in his starts. Andy Dalton was not that good, but Fields was kind of atrocious some games. His best game was 291 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick, 8 rushes for 45 yards. Justin Fields, did he have any 300-yard games? I'm just gonna check that real quick. He did not have a 300-yard game, so he's in the same boat as Zach Wilson, but he did have 285 yards against the Vikings in another game. 7 TDs, 10 picks, similar to Wilson. He has 6.9 yards per attempt. Maybe you could say he's playing with a better offense-ish. I mean, Allen Robinson's better than any receiver. But I think he had mostly better games than Zach Wilson. He never really had a completely botched game where he threw like 4 picks and lost by 40 points. I mean, the bar is very low with this draft class, I think, yeah, I don't know how good he's going to be in the future. I trust Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. I just trust the first 3 quarterbacks' potential way more than Fields. But I think I'm going to give him a slightly better grade than everyone so far. He's going to have a C-, not that much higher. So Don't get mad at me in the comments, Jets fans and Jaguar fans, if there is any Jaguar fans out there watching this. None of your quarterbacks have been good this year. It's okay. Relax, rookie season for all these guys, bad situations, but I'm going to give him a C- grade, barely above Wilson and Lawrence's D+. And then we could talk about pretty much one of the only good quarterbacks in this draft class, Mac Jones. He's 6'3", out of Alabama. We saw him win the national championship the year before. And he actually looked like a legit quarterback this year. He reminds me a little bit better Jimmy Garoppolo. He played in every game, led the Patriots to the playoffs. So that just shows how bad Cam Newton was. Cam Newton could not lead the similar Patriot team to the playoffs. I know there was all those opt-outs and everything, but Mac Jones was just a much better quarterback and a downfield passer. He had a bunch of 300-yard games, but 67% completion. That's what really impressed me. He's accurate. He makes the smart plays, throws deep, throws the checkdowns right. 3,800 yards, 7.3 yards per attempt, blows every quarterback out of the water so far in this draft class. 22 touchdowns, and he's the only quarterback with more TDs than picks. 22-13. I'd say it's a very solid rookie season for Mac Jones. I know the Patriots are a smart organization, yada, yada, yada. But he really didn't have that many great receivers. I mean, Kendrick Bourne's pretty good. Hunter Henry's solid. He's not like George Kittle or Kelsey, but he's a decent tight end. But he did have a good O-line. He had a better O-line than all these guys. That definitely helps. And a smarter coach. I mean, Bill Belichick is obviously way ahead of any of these other coaches that the other quarterbacks played for. But let's talk about some of the good games. I mean, he had 307 yards, 2 TDs versus the Jets. 310 yards, 2 TDs against the Titans in a blowout win, 3 TDs against Lawrence's Jags. And against Tom Brady with the lights bright in like week 4 or 5, he had 2 TDs, 275 yards, and a pick in that rain. And when it was raining in that game, they almost won. So I like Mac Jones moving forward. I don't think his ceiling is as high as Wilson and Lawrence and Lance. I'm going to say that right now. So I think this is Mac Jones's floor. We know he's going to make the right plays. He's a smart quarterback. He's going to be consistent. But I think he was the 15th pick this year, which is also, he was drafted after all these guys as I'm doing them in order. But I would give Mac Jones a B+, pretty high, much higher than B+. He led the team to 10 wins. Had great stats in every category, more TDs than picks, so I like looking for. So he's by far the best quarterback in this draft class, but I don't think his ceiling is as high. This is kind of his floor. I think he can be a little bit better. I could see him throwing 30 TDs next season potentially if they get another receiver, another year to gel with other guys. But let's talk about the final quarterback, which nobody really talks about because he's on a team that nobody cares about either, like the Houston Texans. Davis Mills at Stanford. He tore his ACL the year before he came out, which dropped his stock a lot. He was a third-round pick, 67th overall. And I think he stepped into another shitty situation like Lawrence and Wilson and Fields and all those guys. And he actually succeeded. He played better than all of them. Nobody's talk about that just because he's on the Texans. He doesn't have that many great players on this team either. His coach got fired. I mean, you could say what you want about Urban Meyer, Robert Saleh, all these guys. He also got fired too. He has 66% completion. Very good. Made the smart plays. 6.8 yards per attempt. 16 TDs, 10 picks. With what he was asked to work with, they had Tyrod, then he got hurt. Davis Mills came into a crappy situation, and I think he succeeded. And he should really be the starting quarterback next year if Deshaun Watson is not going to play. His best game, he had a lot of good games, actually. 300-yard games, 312 yards, 3 TDs against the Patriots. Zach Wilson threw 4 picks and lost by like 40 points to them. Davis Mills wins in that category. Davis Mills had 2 TDs, 310 yards against the Rams. And he also had 331 yards, 1 TD against my Seahawks, 301 yards, and 3 TDs against... I don't even have what team that was against. I think I was against the Titans the last week of the season, yes. So Davis Mills, if you just go by this raw stats, he was definitely the second best quarterback, and that's why he's going to get the second best grade this year. I don't care. You could say all you want with the Jets and Jaguar situations. The Texans situation is actually worse than the Jets, I think. I mean, he have some good veterans, but he had a coach that just got fired. Salah's obviously better than that guy. So, I mean, Davis Mills, I'm not going to say he's more talented than Lawrence, Wilson, or Lance, but he had a better season. I'm grading them just off of this rookie season. It's just interesting to compare all the good guys. I'm going to give Davis Mills a B, just lower than Mac Jones. It would have been much higher probably if he led this team to more wins, but they were 2-9, and it's not really his fault. His defense and this team is garbage. Just to run down the letter grades. Lawrence got a D+, Wilson D+, Lance incomplete. We don't have enough info on him yet. Justin Fields C-, Mac Jones a B+, and Davis Mills a B. I really like Davis Mills moving forward. He could be a good serviceable quarterback. So that is my quarterbacks being graded. Comment down below how you would grade them. What do you think what do you think was wrong? What do you think I did right? That's just how it's going to be. It wasn't very... I mean, the 2022 quarterback draft class is going to be even weaker than this. All these guys have potential, I think, but just bad situations year one. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Probably going to be 2 NBA videos tomorrow. Or not tomorrow. 1 NBA video Wednesday, 1 Friday. I'll catch you guys later.